You guys are going to trip out exactly what was missing. Not just my electronics, but some crazy stuff was missing from my apartment. Welcome back, JT Squad, to another episode of Storytime Saturdays, where I tell real life stories of my past. And you guys know your boy JT. There can't be a Storytime video without something I am sipping on. We got the Michelob Ultra in the bottle, guys. Trying to cut down on the carbs a little bit. Plus it's delicious. Let's get into this video. Speaking of what am I sipping on, if you guys haven't checked out the brand new What Am I Sipping On merch, go check it out. Use code EasterFree for absolutely free shipping. You guys are absolutely amazing. Big shout out to all my new subscribers and old subscribers. We're closing in on 2,700 subscribers. You guys are absolutely amazing. But that's not the best part. We are finally in monetization review, guys. So here soon, cross your fingers, we're going to be a monetized channel, guys. It's only up from here. Much love to all you guys. But let's get into this video. You guys voted on it. This is the story that you wanted to hear, guys. So let's get into this story, guys. Let's go back about, I want to say 9 or 10 years ago. 8 or 9, somewhere around there. I always forget the dates, but somewhere around there, 8 to 10 years ago. And this is why I have very little friends, guys. I don't trust too many people, and this is a prime example, guys. So I had a real good friend, pretty much a best friend in the world. We hung out, we did everything. Well, he moved away, guys. He moved to another city in Wyoming, was living there, doing his job. You know, I guess his job tanked or something down there. So he decided he wanted to move back to Cheyenne. So, you know, of course he didn't have nowhere to go or anything like that, which is fine, you know. So he hit me up, hey, you know, JT, cool if I kick it at your house for a little bit, you know. And I'm like, you know what, you're my boy, you know. And I live in a small one-bedroom, guys. So just to let someone kick it at my house is pretty much a stupid idea anyway. Just how small my place is. It's pretty much just for me, this place. So, you know, that's my boy. And, you know, when you're boys with someone, you got to have each other's backs. So, you know, I was like, that's my homie. You know, of course you could come crash at my house. So this guy, you know, my homeboy, you know, comes back into town or whatever, you know. I'm at work at the time, you know. He hits me up, hey, JT, you know, where you at? I'm at your house. Well, I'm at work, bro. All right, so he goes up to my job. I said, come get the keys or whatever. So he gets the keys or whatever, you know. So I work a whole shift, you know. I come back and I come in my apartment, and you'll never believe what happened, guys. So I look, and my homeboy that I was going to let stay at my house is crashed out on the couch with all this stuff. I'm like, okay. And there was some random dude, I kid you guys not, some random dude sitting on my couch watching TV. I'm like, if that wasn't the first red flag of the whole situation, I don't know what was. But I'm like, are you serious? So I'm like, who are you, man? Oh, I'm so-and-so. I can't remember his friend's name or whatever. And then, you know, I wake my friend up. You know, I'm thinking the whole time that his homeboy could have robbed me blind, and, you know, he would have been crashed out on the couch and nothing would have happened. And then I'm thinking, you know, did he try to bring this dude to stay at my house too? So, you know, I brushed that off or whatever. I guess he was dropping homeboy off at one of his friend's house in town or something like that. So I was like, all right, that's cool or whatever. So everything was going good for like, probably like a month or two, you know. I told him, I was like, my only requirement here is you got to give me like $200 a month. You guys, $200 a month, that's like nothing. So he was staying at another one of our friends' house, and this lady was getting mad at me because I was charging him rent. Well, he's staying at my house the majority of the time. We'll let him stay there. Like, I didn't call him and beg him to stay at my house. So she was mad that I was charging him rent and whatnot, and you know, he was like barely over here. The tensions were starting to rise at that point, you know, and I was pretty much on the verge, because I figured it'd be like maybe a 1 month scenario, you know. 2-3 months later, homeboy still has all his crap at my house crashed out on here. I'm like, this ain't going good, you know. And that's why you don't let friends live with you, you know, because then it makes the relationship that you guys had, the good relationship, tense, and then, you know, it breaks up a friendship. And one of the things we talked about before he even moved in was, don't let random people come into my place, man. That's just common sense, you know. You don't do that. So anyways, you know, the first impression with the one dude on the couch, you know, knows that he broke that rule already. So I'm like, all right. But I didn't see him do it any after that or whatever. But you know, he was going through a tough time and stuff like that. The job he had was way higher paying in the past that he lost in the other city. So I know he's going through a tough time and whatnot. So I'm like, all right, so I'm freaked out midway through work. I finally get off. He calls me, hey man, I think we might have got robbed. I'm like, robbed? What you mean robbed, bro? You're responsible. When I'm not there, you're responsible for the place. So he kind of goes in the story. I rush home. I get home and everything like that. I come into place and like my TVs are gone. Like my Xbox. My big TV wasn't gone, I think, because it was so big that it was hard to get out of here or whatever. But he goes to tell me how this dude that, a mutual dude we knew, more of his friend than mine. It wasn't even really my friend, more an acquaintance or whatever. He come in the house and, when he was in here getting stuff or whatever. And apparently this dude borrowed my ex-friend's truck. Well, guess what, guys? On the truck keys was my spare key. Well, that dude didn't bring the truck home that night. So my friend had to go to work. So the whole time when we were both at work, dude used my key, came in my apartment, stole a bunch of my stuff. Well, that's the story. I don't know if it's true. It might have been an inside job. You just never know. You know what I mean? But I'll get into exactly what was stolen. You guys are going to trip out some of the stuff that was stolen from my apartment. So I'm like super heated. I'm mad at, my ex-friend or whatever. I'm mad at the whole situation. I'm torn. I don't know whether to go find this dude and beat him up, call the police. Like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, you guys know me. I don't like calling no cops, guys. I don't like dealing with cops or anything like that. So I'm like, I got to call the cops. This dude robbed my house, So he's like, yeah, and he gave, I knew the dude's name and everything like that. So call the cops, they come over. I didn't touch nothing or whatever. Well, guess what? On my TV stand, there's like glass. There's a big glass panel or whatever right there. And you could see fingerprints. And I keep that thing clean, guys. I'm a super clean freak. So I'm telling the cops, to fingerprint. They didn't want to fingerprint. They didn't fingerprint nothing. They're just like, oh, And since it wasn't like an actual broken in scenario where the door wasn't busted in, the window wasn't busted or something like that, they had a key. They kind of didn't want to believe me and stuff like that. And the dude cut my cords and everything in my room and stuff to my TV and my DVD player and all that stuff like that. So I'm not going to cut my own cords, but the cops were trying to act like I robbed my own house and stuff like that. So that was making me really mad. My homeboy was, I don't know, he's kind of acted shady. He was kind of like apologetic, but he wasn't really apologetic. And I knew I had to get my locks changed and everything like that. Homeboy didn't want to even help me buy the new locks or anything. My mom actually had to, because I didn't have no money back then. I was like broke as a joke. I was working a fast food job making like probably $8 an hour back then. So I didn't even have money for a new lock or anything. So my mom paid for the lock. Dude went and stayed at that other girl's house or whatever, miraculously. And then, of course, I'm all mad and stuff like that, and I'm like going on Facebook, like, and all the cops were saying they think it's an inside job, and I'm like thinking, I don't know if it's an inside job, I don't think my friend would do that to me, like, why would he do that? He already stayed here 2-3 months, and nothing was ever missing. So deep down, I really don't think it was an inside job, but you just never know with people. That's why I have trust issues, but I'm going to get into what was all missing, guys. You guys are going to trip out exactly what was missing. Not just my electronics, but some crazy stuff was missing from my apartment. Anybody out there that's ever been robbed, it's not even about your stuff being stolen. It's feeling violated. And then after that, of course you're on high alert. Every time you go anywhere, you're thinking you're going to come home, your house is going to be robbed, and all your stuff's going to be missing, So that was the biggest demon I had to fight after that. But so, I noticed all the big stuff, the electronics that were stolen. And, I started looking through my stuff, I'm like, I look in my room, there's, some drawers and stuff open, the closet open. I'm like, what, what's missing? Some of my shirts were missing. Okay, dude stole my shirts. Okay, a couple jerseys. Of course those are stillable items because you could sell them. So I start going through my other drawers and stuff, and I look, and I kid you guys not, this is the craziest stuff ever. All my boxers, my underwear were missing. Like, this dude went in my drawer, stole my socks, my underwear, my clothes, like stuff like that. Like, I can understand the jerseys, but underwear, bro, like, come on, man. I hope this dude sees this video too and knows that this fool stole my underwear. You know what I mean? But it was crazy, like, So, of course it took me a while to recoup. The ex-friend I had never once tried to say, hey bro, I know he was going through a hard time, didn't really have any money either, but he never once tried to say, hey man, I'll help you try to get your TVs replaced, your Xbox and stuff like that, So I filed this police report, probably a year and a half goes by. I'm thinking, I'm never going to recoup any of my losses. Well, they called me, and they're like, all right, we got so-and-so, like, they want to see if you'll do a plea agreement that we could drop the felony if he pays you for the stuff that was stolen. And, I'm not trying to bury people. I understand, like, he robbed my house and stuff. Like, I guess it's bad because I have a big heart still, So I'm like, well, shit, I just want the money for the stuff that was stolen. I don't even want, like, this dude to go to prison or anything like that. I just want the money for the stuff that was stolen. So, I was surprised too. Like, I got a check for all the stuff that was missing and stolen. It took like a year and a half to get the money. But I'll tell you guys the kicker of this whole story. I didn't hear or see from this guy for years and years, guys. 10, 12 years. So I'm in my new job that I've been here about a year and a half. I'm working. I had to do like a mandatory overtime day on the weekend or something, So I'm working away, I look up and I see this dude and I'm like, man, this fool looks familiar, So I'm just working. I'm like, what's up, whatever. Like, I kept looking at this dude. And sure enough, guys, it's the same dude that robbed my house. I kid you guys not, man. It took everything I could think of not to beat this kid up, you know what I mean? Because, the anger built inside, and it wasn't even about the possessions. I got the money back for the stuff that was stolen. It's the fact that this dude was welcomed in my house, because he came in my house before, too. Like, it's not like the first time I ever seen this guy or anything like that. He came in my house other times before that, but I guess he was all strung out on drugs or something like that, but I don't use excuses for people, but, luckily I didn't beat the kid up, I don't even know if he still works at our job now, because that was like a couple months before this whole situation happened. But yeah, it's just the craziest thing ever. Like, that's why I don't really trust people, and you got to watch who your friends are. But a true friend would have helped me pay for the stuff that was missing, Even if he didn't have a lot of money, even if he gave me $10 every 2 weeks and said, here, bro, I don't have money, but here's a $10 bill, man. It was my fault. So me and the dude aren't friends no more. I don't see the dude. I don't know where he's at. I think he's still in the city I live in, but even if I seen him, I would just walk by, act like I didn't even know that fool, because that's just something you don't do to friends. And if it was in my possession, the keys to someone else's property, and something happened to that property, it's my responsibility to take care of the problem. You know what I mean? I don't care if you had to pawn everything you owned to pay for your friend's possessions, because that's just something you don't do, guys. So, but that was my crazy story about someone robbing my house, stealing my underwear and stuff like that. Much love to everybody that subscribed to the channel, everybody that's new, old. Love you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed this story time. Stay tuned for plenty more story times. Check my community tab for all new updates. Love you guys very much, and we'll see you next time. Later. Models popping bottles.